So hi, I'm Nicholas Hans. I'm contributing to these hybrid broadcast solutions days from Dubai here in the UAE. I'm sad to not have the chance to meet all of you face to face, but I can't say that I miss the Bingen weather. So today we'd like to explore how AI technology and what are called cognitive services can change our day-to-day production jobs. So be it promoting live events, managing sports productions, or covering the news. Today we don't want to talk about US politics. We're not going to talk about senatorial races, presidential elections, or lost ballots. We're just going to talk about one thing, is how tech can actually change the way we do our jobs and change the workflows for online publishing, for archiving, or for news coverage. So to do so, it's my pleasure to introduce Philippe Petitpont. Philippe is the co-founder and the CEO of Newsbridge. Newsbridge is a Paris-based startup that's focusing on unleashing the benefits of AI technology for live production. Philippe, thank you for being with us today. Philippe is around. So Phil spent 10 years as a broadcast engineer with major European networks before booting up Newsbridge in 2016. Today, 4 years later, his company Newsbridge is working with sports rights holders, TV networks, and international press agencies, and experiencing a rapid global expansion. This past year, in partnership with Broadcast Solutions, Newsbridge technology has been implemented for the future International Broadcasting Center of a global event, which will basically be held next year because of the COVID situation. And in the meantime, my screen.
Yeah, sorry, I'm just right here. Just an issue, but hi everyone.
So today, if we look at it, AI-powered services are really everywhere. I mean, we talk to Siri, Alexa, Google. We have Netflix recommendation engines. Our cars are starting to be autonomous. And what's clear is that AI has become the new buzzword. Today, if you look at the publication of scientific articles, every 10 minutes, there's a newspaper about AI that's published somewhere in the world. And that basically covers topics like artificial intelligence, computation and language, computer vision, pattern recognition, manual learning, neural and evolutionary computing, robotics. Literally 3%, nearly 1 out of 10 published article is about AI. Now, the result of all that research is actually pretty stunning. If we look at it, AI over the last 20 years has had significant progress. The original Deep Blue back in 1997 that beat Kasparov at chess, today is actually becoming increasingly giving way to phenomenal progress in terms of AI and image recognition. 4 years ago, for the first time, the computers were actually able to classify objects better than humans can do it, with a classification rate of 3%. That's actually, an error rate of 3%, almost twice better than what a human could do. 3 years ago, computers started being able to detect skin cancers even better than dermatologists can do it. And literally last year, Chinese to English translations actually became almost as good with a computer as it is with a human. Now, the result of all this is really a consequence of bigger data sets. Because of the internet, there's massive data that can be used for training AI engines. The second part is the fact that we have more CPU power, and the cloud here plays a phenomenal role in giving that processing power. And then there's really new approaches to machine learning. Now, practically, the result of all this is that organizations across the world are increasingly adopting AI. According to McKinsey, back in 2019, nearly 2 out of 3 companies implemented AI services somewhere within their business, either for one business unit or even for multiple business units. 1 out of 3 companies worldwide is already using AI to change the way their business functions. Now, in Europe, we're pretty much on par with that global average. Here in the Middle East, we're a little bit lagging behind. But the reality is that AI is truly changing the way we can do our jobs. Now, in our business, in the business of content, there's really a number of benefits that we can expect from AI. the main challenge that we have as broadcasters, content producers, or production houses is really to manage content. And if we think of it, when we look at a media asset, it's really the combination of a media file with a bunch of technical, descriptive, and copyright metadata on top of it. Now, that metadata is essential because that's what gives us the ability to actually search content. Without metadata, content is not exposed. Without metadata, we're not able to actually search and find content. And we've been pitching that good word of media asset management for the last 20 years. But the reality is that actually building metadata is boring. If you ask a journalist to actually describe or archive their stories, they'll always tell you that the results of the Texas elections are coming up. So what the promise that we have with AI is to actually automate the generation of metadata and really create what we can coin as cognitive metadata, a way of actually exposing content either via speech to text, via translations, or via facial recognitions to actually facilitate access to that content, to expose it and make it available for users. So from that standpoint, you at Newsbridge have actually worked on the notion of multimodal indexing. And multimodal is just a mouthful. So what's that buzzword all about?
Yeah, so multimodal is the ability for the machine and the AI engine to work together with other AI engine. Today, most AI engine, what we can find at Google or Amazon, are mainly what we call unimodal, saying that they are only looking at the pixel, or they are only looking at the audio, or they are only looking at metadata. The goal for multimodal AI is to work like a human brain and to cross all those different sources to be able to have quality indexing and to have nearly human-like indexing, meaning that the algorithm, the AI algorithm, will look both to the audio and simultaneously to the video to be sure that, okay, this is Donald Trump, this is not a false positive that have been detected. So this is really a key to make this technology usable for real media use case.
So the idea is to actually not just do speech to text or facial recognition, but to combine both in parallel so that you actually have more context for the engine, correct?
Exactly. This is how the human brain is working today when a documentalist or an archivist is indexing content, using all the senses to have reliable information.
So let's try to see how we can actually take advantage of that technology with three basic examples. One is about live events and publishing content to the internet. The other one is about sports production. And then finally, we'll see how we can leverage multimodal AI for news coverage. Now, practically from a live events perspective, one of your clients, Reed Exhibition, has really reinvented the way they actually publish content to the web.
Exactly. So Reed Exhibition is one of the major organization events, meaning that they organize several major worldwide events each month. And obviously, it was before COVID-19 on-site events. So they had quickly to adapt and to find new ways of producing content. And it's brings a new paradigm, meaning that some of the meetings, some of the conferences were postponed, others were spanned during several months, and others are 100% digital like this one. But for both use cases, the goal is to be able to work with video and to publish as fast as possible the key moments of all those sessions. So what we've done for them to help them to quickly adapt is to deploy a platform that will automatically index content. Indexing content means that we'll detect automatically who is this person speaking on the mic, on this session, on the stage, and also transcript automatically with live speech to text everything that the person, the speaker is saying. And because it's worldwide event, it's important to be able to work in multiple languages. So if, for example, we're interviewing or the speaker is one board member of Gazprom, we speak in Russian, but the audience won't speak Russian. So we have to be sure that when he's speaking, everybody understands. And first people who have to understand that is the media manager that will work on content. And that's something that is done automatically with a less than 15 seconds delay between the live. So it's immediate, it's very, very quick. And the idea then is to be able for the media managers to publish what matters. And for that, we've redefined how to clip content, how to live clip content. Using the text instead of the timeline, you are very accurate in an editorial way. So the media manager can select directly the sentence that have been transcribed automatically, whatever the language is, will generate also subtitling, and then they can publish it to even CMS or a YouTube media account or any social media. So that in less than a minute, you have everything that matters from this conference directly on social networks, and that will boost audience and engagement. So it's really a way to redefine how those digital events, how those events are becoming digital.
So actually, it's really about optimizing the way content is produced and pushed to the web. And we understand that that applies to exhibitions, but you're seeing also the fact that AI is used for sports production.
Exactly. So sports is a really beautiful market, because each year you have all the same events and you have sometimes more events. So it's very a market very important for us and for indexing. And so this use case is was with a customer called TF1, which is one major broadcaster in Europe, along with MediaPro for also the football production. And they needed a quickly way to access any major pan-European event for producing their TV sports show, their sport TV show. So the idea here was to say that, well, we have to find a way to record automatically every major event on this platform, but also to keep all those events for several years, because when you are producing a sports magazine and sports news show, it's not only about news, sports news content. It's also about what happened 3 years ago or 10 years ago. So the idea is to have one platform, you record everything, you index everything, and then when you need something, even for live or for archive content or something that is 10 years ago, that was 10 years ago, you can find very quickly what matters. So the idea is to be able to do that automatically without human intervention for doing the indexation.
So Philippe, I imagine that actually these feeds are already recorded by TF1 on their existing legacy infrastructure, right?
Exactly. So they are recorded for really hot content, hot production content for near live magazines, or also for broadcasting the event, obviously. The idea is to have really like what we call a MAM, or a media asset collection. We'll talk about that just later. We analyze everything. So we analyze people. You see here, it's so football players during the female World Cup, I guess it was 2 years ago, or last year, and also the audio commentary. So with all of that, we have really everything we need to do a multimodal analysis. And thanks to all those data, what I can do then is to myself, not by calling a documentalist or an archivist, find the content that I need for my story. I'm working on some Formula One use case, and well, I need Max Verstappen saying something about the last fight with, I don't know, Lewis Hamilton. Then in a second, I have just the 5 seconds that matters along the 3 or 4 hours event, last event on Formula One. So it's very quick, and the benefit of that is the customer, they don't need any more people archiving or indexing manually. It's done automatically. And also, the journalist is now alone and autonomous to select what matters for his story. And obviously, he's the guy that knows perfectly what he needs for his story. So he don't have to call someone to find something. He's really autonomous. And then he can work in another way on the content. Being just at home, he can find something that was said 3 years ago in a minute, in a second. It's very fast. So that's really a use case, a kind of self-service retrieval use case for archive valorization.
And the fact that it's actually based in the cloud and that you only need a web browser is actually something that you've seen a number of news organizations starting to take advantage, right? I believe that you worked with AFP on their newsroom environment following the COVID crisis.
Yeah, on this last use case, COVID-19 was really a trigger for that. And like said, Microsoft, for IFP, it's more than right. It's in 2 months, they've done 2 years of digital transformation. Press agencies are recording every month 1,000 hours of content. It's huge. It's maybe one of the big players in contributional recording feeds. So what is really strange, but it's normal, they're only watching a few hundreds of these hours, and they're only selecting less than 1% of all this content that is incoming into a platform. And that take a long time to do that, hundreds of journalists. So what we've done is to say and to use AI to automatically on live feed sort what matters. And we've done that with the collection feature. The collection features is like a smart folder. You can create, depending on the topic of the day, some things that will automatically select the part of incoming live content. So if I'm working, I don't know, for example, on a COVID vaccine. COVID vaccine is the main topic, and press agency want to be the first to have footage about COVID vaccine. So then I can create a collection called COVID vaccine, and then automatically every pattern that are matching to COVID vaccine, both in the transcript, in the metadata, in the face recognition, if I don't know, some medical staff is working on, it will be automatically gathered into just one collection. And the journalist will be warned automatically that something might be interesting for his story. And then he can fire the footage directly to the CMS to resell it as quick as possible and be the first to do that. And
so they're not using the keywords that are coming with the video. It's actually the speech-to-text transcription, or actually the images that are linked to it that actually trigger that filtering of the content, right?
Exactly. Here is this example. We are using what we call a full text search. So everything that will match to COVID vaccine in a semantic way, meaning that if, I don't know, a pharmaceutical laboratory is working on a COVID vaccine and we know this information, it will be automatically highlighted into the collection. So it's done really 100% automatically. And also a press agency is working worldwide. So they are working in lots of different languages. And when I need some stuff from the Russian bureau in Moscow and I don't have any Russian translator, how do I select the content that is matching? Well, it's exactly the same way as we've seen before for the read example. We can highlight automatically something using my own language, in English, for example. When, I don't know, Putin is speaking about international terrorism, he will say that not in English, but in Russian. And then the collection is working in any languages. So in this example, I think we have one in a slide, it's about Saudi Arabia. And I'm looking for stuff where Saudi Arabia has been said and been pronounced. Then I will hold the matching content in any languages, even if I don't speak any languages, I don't speak one language. So that's very important for press agencies to be as fast as possible. And they don't need a translator just to see if something might be important. Then they will call the translator if something is important, but they can know that Erdogan is speaking about a pipeline, an oil pipeline, or some, I don't know, some pictures that is seen in a newspaper.
So read, AFP, TF1, this all sounds really nice, but it sounds like a lot of greenfield. So what's your advice? I mean, if I've got an organization, I already have a newsroom, I already have my archives, how do I start implementing AI?
So it's not a big bang because we've done, there's lots of integrations that are possible. It depends really on the size of the project, but for major players and major organizations, integration is key. It's really the most important part because these organizations, they already have workflows, they have already way of working, infrastructure. So the idea is really to focus on how the integration should work, how the use case, and well, maybe the first step is to call broadcast solution and to say how maybe you can start with a very quick demo platform and then think about how can I use it and talk about integration.
Thanks for that. I think it's a good time for us to actually move to questions from the audience. If I can figure out where I can actually check the inbound questions, if any, you're more than welcome. Please feel free to ask questions to Phil. So thank you very much all for participating. If you want to have more information about Newsbridge or about the way you could actually explore implementing AI within your organization, give us a call.
Thank you.
Bye for now.
Bye.